All right, guys, I want to give you some content creation tips today. So the 5 things that have really helped my posts do a lot better and blow up, and every time I post, get a lot of followers, because we don't want to post just to post, right? We need to actually get more eyes. We need it to get to the Explore page. We need more eyes on our content. That's how we actually grow. Social media is a terrible return on investment if we're not actually growing, because it does take a lot of time, energy, and effort to put out consistent stuff. So we've talked about how important consistency is in general, obviously. That's the number one thing, is stay consistent. But once you got that done, right? Like, we can't teach work ethic, we can't teach consistency, but what I can teach you is these 5 rules. So rule number 1, when you're getting ready to post something, you got to ask yourself, is this actually valuable? Is this valuable information that people need? How do you determine if it's valuable? Well, sometimes I'm super interested in a topic, but nobody has ever asked me about the topic. Nobody's interested in the topic. So that might not be a great one for social media. A lot of times I just think back to, like, what are the questions that I get? What do my athletes ask me? What are other coaches asking me? What questions do I get on social media? Like, if you really track that and start to look at, like, what are the topics that my followers are interested in, you're going to be able to create content specifically for them. And then you're going to get a lot more likes, a lot more comments, and your stuff is going to get to the Explore page, right? So is the information valuable? And then once you determine if it's valuable, are you actually providing value in your post, or are you just touching on the subject and it's really just more of a sales pitch, right? This is the mistake that everybody makes is, okay, let's say your followers like to learn about speed, and you have a speed program, or you have a gym where you teach people about speed, and you start to bring up a topic that people are asking about, let's say dorsiflexion upon ground contact, but you don't actually really dive into any nuts and bolts. You don't really give anything out. You just kind of talk about it, and people at the end of the video are left with, like, great, but now what? Like, there was no real practical application. Nobody learned anything. It was basically just a sales pitch for you to get more clients or to get people to sign up for your program. That stuff does not do well on social media. Sales pitches just don't work. Now, every now and then you want to slide in your sales pitch, because obviously we do want more people to come train with us or sign up for our online programs. But it goes back to the concept of Gary Vee's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. The jab, 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 that's give, give, give. And then the right hook is asking for the sale. That ask and that sales pitch should only be every now and then. For the most part, your social media should be dedicated to just giving out good, high quality information. All right, number 2, who are you talking to? So we've determined, hey, I got something valuable to say. I got a valuable piece of information. It's not going to be a sales pitch. I'm actually going to give away some nuts and bolts. Who are you giving it away to? So for me, I like to have a specific person that I'm thinking of. So maybe it's Timmy, the 14-year-old baseball player. I'm writing it for him. What does Timmy need to know? I'm not thinking about the outside noise. I'm not trying to satisfy everybody. I'm satisfying Timmy. Or John, the strength coach, who is already advanced. I'm talking to John, right? The voice that I use, the delivery that I use, the amount of scientific terms that I use compared to just easy, like, practical information that I use changes depending on who I'm talking to. For me, a lot of times I talk to both of them at one time. So think about how you would have a conversation with Timmy, the 14-year-old baseball player, and then think about how you would talk to John, the advanced strength coach. And then think about it like, what if John and Timmy were together asking me about dorsiflexion and sprinting? How would I talk to both of them? And so you're kind of playing the middle ground where you're using some scientific terminology, but every time you use scientific terminology, you bring it back so that Timmy can understand it. You're talking about, hey, before the foot hits the ground, we want to dorsiflex. Basically what that means is we kind of want to pull our toes up towards the head. So both of them got value out of that, because John got to hear it in the terminology that he likes, the scientific stuff. But Timmy also understands it because we put it in very simple, easy to understand words. So for me, that's worked wonders, is kind of playing that middle ground where your high-level coach can benefit from each post, but Timmy, the 14-year-old baseball player, can also benefit from each post. Now, not everybody's going to be able to do that. I think the biggest mistake that I see is people are insecure about their knowledge, and so they just put everything in the most confusing scientific terms that they can think of. It's basically like they just read a super advanced study or an advanced book, and they just took it from that and put it out on their content. And there's like a few scientists and coaches that'll read it and they'll enjoy it, but like nobody actually understood what you were saying. And so you still need to put it in understandable terms, even if you are using some scientific terminology. So I think you really have to know your audience. For me, when I drop like the dopest, most scientific post that I love, it does the worst because I didn't do a good enough job of describing it to Timmy, the 14-year-old baseball player. But when I drop some deep science and I make it very understandable, all of a sudden the stuff takes off. And I've had posts where it goes so viral on the Explore page, I can get 10,000 followers off that one post. So the return on investment is huge for me just stepping back and getting away from my ego and, you know, trying to make everything like super advanced and scientific and just being like, hey, let's make sure that everybody understands what I'm trying to say. Okay, number 3 is being self-aware with your delivery. So there's all kinds of content that kills on social media, and it doesn't have to be one format. Like, you don't have to do what I'm doing. You got to be self-aware. It goes back to the joke of like, you have a face for radio. That means you probably shouldn't be on TV, but you could still blow up on radio. And I'm not talking about based on appearance. Like with social media, I think it's based on your superpower. Are you really good on camera? Are you good at speaking and delivering and getting people excited about what you have to say? If so, you might not want to be the one that's posting a picture and then writing about it, right? You're taking your superpower and you're not even utilizing it. So for me, I used to do a lot of writing and I got really good at writing, but I was not good at speaking. And especially speaking on camera, like I would always just freeze up. I didn't know how to deliver stuff. I knew the information, and just like a lot of people, they just deliver it in such a boring way that people don't want to listen. And so I used to be better off just, you know, posting a picture or posting a video of me dunking and then just writing about it. But I was able to take my weakness and turn it into more of a superpower. And I've talked about this before, but I literally just watched Will Smith interviews and Barack Obama interviews, and I memorized what they would say and how they said it, and I would go in the mirror and practice exactly how they did it. And eventually I got to the point where I started to learn how to speak, and then I brought in my own style. So the whole, you know, concept of imitate and then innovate, that's what I did to teach myself how to speak. And so now I've been told that I can deliver information in a way that gets people really excited. So now you'll notice that I very rarely take a picture of something and write about it. Almost all of my videos are me talking. So I want to actually use my superpower. Now, this is where self-awareness comes in. If you feel like you don't have that ability to really speak and get people to listen, one, you need to work on that because that's going to be an essential skill, not only for content creation, but for getting more clients and getting your clients to buy into your own program. It's just an overall essential skill, probably the number one skill that you need, especially in like strength and conditioning or skills training, particularly if you're running your own business and you're relying on getting clients in the door or getting people to sign up for your online programs. You're going to need that skill. But you can build that behind the scenes, and for the time being, if you're not good at it, then post a picture, post a video, and just write an in-depth caption. That's okay. There's also some content on social media right now that's killing it where they just use swipe over stories. So it's like top 5 tips for a better squat. And then it shows a picture of somebody doing a squat. And then it says swipe left. You swipe left, and then it's number 1, and then it's just written out, this, and that, swipe left. Number 2, this. Like, it doesn't have to be the dopest video of the century. It really could just be some swipe over stuff where you just write it out in a very easy, simple way for people to digest and for people to understand. Number 4, make sure that there's something visually appealing. And this is especially for Instagram. You need it to be visually appealing, whether it's a video or it's a swipe over thing or it's just a picture of an athlete with a long description. you need it to be visually appealing. I see so many posts, it's like the information is great, but it's just not visually appealing enough to get the masses. You can't get people's attention. So like with our videographer, with Calvin, I basically direct everything. He's the one who kind of edits up our videos, but I tell him exactly where to put everything, what B-roll to add in, etc. And what I found is that like every 5 to 7 seconds, we need something new and visually appealing. So instead of me sitting there just talking through a video, if I'm talking about jump mechanics and I'm talking about a penultimate step, I'm gonna start the video with one of our great athletes who uses a good penultimate step. Or I'll use a classic example of someone like Michael Jordan doing a good penultimate step. And then it'll cut to me talking. But I know that I'm gonna lose their attention if I go longer than like 5 seconds of just me talking. And so then I'm gonna bring up another video of an athlete and then back to me talking and then another video of an athlete. And so if you're watching it, you're constantly stimulated and you're gonna watch through the entire thing. So it's gonna help people learn because I'm actually keeping their attention. Because remember, with Instagram, we're trained to scroll. As soon as you see something, you're already just waiting to scroll to the next thing. To watch an entire 1-minute video or to swipe over and learn something, it's got to be really good information. So you have to make sure that it is visually appealing. If you're taking a picture, if you're using a video, make sure that it's a high quality video. One of the things that I did, some of my best posts, I kind of like to keep people visually stimulated in multiple ways. So it'll be like a great athlete and then an animal comparison. So I was talking about like this concept of like patient ankles. There's a researcher, Bobert, that has a lot of really good stuff on this. It's basically proximal to distal extension in jumping. So the concept, I call it patient ankles, of like you keep a low heel for longer. So as you drop down into the jump, you don't immediately bring the heel up and into plantar flexion. You keep that heel down for longer. And then at the very last moment, you take off. And I found that they've studied this a lot on frogs, and frogs that jump extremely high and far, they're better jumps. They stay more patient with that ankle. And so I found some cool videos of frogs jumping. And so now I actually use that as B-roll in my video. So I took one of our pre-draft athletes who did it really well and jumped out the gym. And then I used the video of the frog, and then I cut to me talking, and then we went to another athlete and then back to the frog. Dude, you have to watch that video. If we're using frog comparisons, people are gonna watch that all the way through. And it also helps people actually remember the information, because now instead of thinking like, oh, patient ankles, they're like, oh, patient ankles like a frog, right? You gave them something familiar in the brain that they can connect that new piece of information to. And that's what retention is all about. So things like that, like it's better for learning, but also it's just very visually stimulating. So for me, what helped take my content to the next level was not just good information and not just delivering the information the right way. It's also pairing it with extremely visually stimulating videos. And tip number 5, and this is one of the most important, and the thing that most of you guys are missing, track your results. There's so much advanced data now that you can get from your Instagram. Like, I don't know if you probably need a business Instagram account or a creator's account. I think those are on different levels as far as what information you can see. But I know, like for me, if I have my business account, I can see exactly how the post did. So I used to just look at reach and impressions. Now my number 1 KPI is follows. That's really all I care about, because what I found is I've had videos that have had insane impressions, like 2 million impressions, but the follows are actually really low. And that means people are like interested in it. Like maybe I use a video of Michael Jordan and people watched it because they like watching Michael Jordan. But the people who saw it didn't think that I provided enough value to actually follow. If I use that video of Michael Jordan, you're like, okay, now I want to watch it because I want to see what he's doing. But then I also bring in some really valuable tips on Michael Jordan's movements. Well, now you're not just watching Michael Jordan. Now you're also seeing, oh, this guy could really provide some value. Like I just learned something. That's when they click follow. So I've had stuff where it's super visually stimulating and the impressions are 2 million, but I didn't get any follows from that. But when I do it the right way and I actually provide enough value, then I get follows. And so now my number one KPI, I'm just looking at how many followers I get per post. And then once you figure out, okay, what's the exact balance of how much good B-roll do I need? How much good information do I need to give out? Do I need to give out a drill? How specific do I need to get? You start to be able to put it all together of like, oh, I get 2,000 followers per post when I do this. And now I have it down to a science of like, if I ask a question like this in the caption, I get this many comments, which makes it go to the Explore page. And then I get this many followers on the back end because of how much value was in that video. So like you can get it really specific. Like, yes, look at comments, look at likes, look at views, impressions, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, the number one KPI I want you guys to look at is followers, and then just double down on what works, right? Whatever works, you keep going, because I can't even tell you how many times I've put out posts that I thought were so good, and then I didn't get any followers from it. So it's like I took maybe 2 days working on this post. I paid a videographer and an editor, right? I got my guy Calvin, luckily he's all in one, but I still have to sit there and like direct everything. I mean, a post could take me 6-7 hours. And so I put all of that effort into that, and then I got no followers from it. That's a really bad investment of my time. So obviously, whatever's actually working to get you followers, double down on that style and then post more of that. I really advise that you get at least like 3 bangers out per week. I'll fill in the gaps with like little things that I know won't get much followers, but like from my podcast, I have a lot of just like clips that I can easily just take and, you know, put a little B-roll to it and throw it out. Like, you know, it takes me 20 minutes. I know that when I don't put a lot of effort into it, I might not get as many followers, but that's more so just to put out more information to help my current followers to get them more value, right? Because that's what it's all about, is helping educate them. And so you still want those posts, but I look at it like I want 3 bangers per week. These bangers are gonna bring me followers for the next month, maybe 2 months, because it stays on the Explore page for a really long time. And so those are kind of what brings in new followers. And then my more so like little posts, my longer IGTV videos, those ones are all for my followers to like continue to gain knowledge, but I know I'm not gonna get followers off that. I very rarely get followers off IGTV because Instagram sucks at making those videos go viral. There's not enough slots on the Explore page for IGTV videos to go crazy like that. Whereas, you know, 90% of your Explore page are regular posts. So that's why a lot of times you guys will see me post a 3-minute video, but they're all swipe overs. So it's 3 swipe overs all at 1 minute. And I get comments all the time like, why don't you just post IGTV? It's because people don't understand IGTV videos don't go viral like that. I can count on one hand how many viral IGTV videos I've had, but most of my swipe over videos or my regular videos under a minute will go viral on the Explore page and bring me a lot of followers. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions in our follow-up. If we do another one of these videos, I'll answer any questions you have on content creation. Till next time, I'm out.